It was a packed house at the Guam legislature throughout the day, and all for good reason. Discussion on the proposal for a waste-to-energy facility. Senator Tina Muñoz-Barnes via Skype.
This is not a new issue. It has been discussed publicly in one forum or another for the last 14 years.
It was last week when Senator Tina Muñoz-Barnes introduced Bill 433 that would ratify the settlement agreement between the government of Guam, GITA, and Guam Resource Recovery Partners and approve the waste-to-energy project. Today, a public hearing was held on the decades-long issue that not only attracted its biggest supporters, but its strongest critics as well. Chief Deputy Attorney General Phil Tydinko was the first to testify, commenting on the legal issues of the bill.
We believe this bill attempts to, or purports to ratify a settlement agreement and approve a contract. We believe that's a violation of the separation of powers doctrine. It's unconstitutional and organic.
He told lawmakers the language is not only ambiguous, confusing, and appears to create a monopoly, but also circumvents the procurement law and overrides some of the law in the books, including the anti-incinerator bill. GRRP attorney Anita Arreola, however, disagreed.
These are non-issues because the court has already decided them, and they are binding on the government of Guam.
She says this current contract attached to Bill 433 is a product of mediation between the government, GITA, and GRRP. As a result of that mediation, the parties entered into an MOU, settling a lawsuit and claims between the parties. She says the parties successfully negotiated a new waste-to-energy contract on terms more favorable to the government than the 1996 contract. She further addressed two major issues that the opposition has raised recently.
What the GRRP contract does not do is it does not kill the recycling industry, as some have stated. The waste-to-energy facility does not conflict with recycling because it does not burn glass, metals, or aluminum cans, and will not receive office paper or cardboard.
She adds the waste-to-energy facility cannot stand alone and needs the recycling industry in order to have an integrated approach to solid waste management in Guam.
Contrary to the statements by the receiver, David Manning, this contract will not bankrupt the government of Guam. That's an irresponsible and a reckless statement made by a person whose financial interests you should consider, and the source of his statements.
She ultimately says what GRRP offers is a cost-effective solution to solid waste management in our island that will result in clean, renewable energy. Ken Ormsby, in the meantime, also testified his support on the project. Ormsby is the Senior Vice President of Energy Systems Group, but first became involved with GRRP back in 2007 when the business he led was still owned by Chevron Corporation, which was previously named as the funding partner on the project.
So you might wonder why we're still around when this project outlasted Chevron's ownership of my business. The answer is pretty straightforward and simple. This is the best project that I've been involved with on the merits of it in my entire career. And it really does illustrate what the definition of sustainability is.
Others, like Consolidated Commission on Utilities Chairman Simon Sanchez, in the meantime, says one of the problems in the contract is it lacks all the details you would see in a power purchase agreement that GPA has signed with other developers.
The Guam Power Authority and John Benavente position on this is that this contract would cost the people of Guam between $11 and $21 million a year, depending on the size of the plant.
Sanchez, we should note, is also a co-owner of Guahan Waste Control, which has been a major opponent of the waste-to-energy project. And while GRRP has stated the project makes sense environmentally and economically, Sanchez disagrees.
How can a senator in good faith act on this bill with the risk that you're going to impart on the people of Guam $11 to $20 million a year of further obligations for the next 20 years? It'd be irresponsible in my view.
iRecycle Program Administrator Peggy Denny says the bill raises more questions than actual solutions.
My attendance here is, as usual, to promote aggressive waste reduction, to promote active reuse of things that can be reused, and aggressive recycling. I'm not sure that that's going to take place with this proposed legislation and this proposed facility.
The governor's legal counsel, Sandra Miller, meanwhile, offered the government of Guam's position on whether it has vetted this contract fully and if it's in the best interest of the people.
And it has always been the government's position that provided that the project and the contract is legal, and that it is environmentally sound, and that it is financially viable, that the government would have no objection to it. So there are a number of criteria that need to be met before anything could even happen.
With so many questions over the bill, Oversight Chair Senator Dennis Rodriguez Jr. ultimately decided he would not report the bill out of committee, nor would he move forward with the bill in this legislative term. Reporting for Guam's News Network, I'm Ken Quintaniza.